business. It's business time. Hang tight, we're gonna get into the business right here in a couple minutes. Baby, baby. It's business. It's business time. All right, welcome to week 20 of It's Business Time. We are joined this week by Napoleon Hernandez of Oddity Bar, soon to be ICONZ. Napoleon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for bringing me on.
Yeah, appreciate it. This is a special. 20 is a nice episode. It's kind of like a good capstone, and to have a bar or an establishment that's meant so much to me over the last year is definitely special to have you coming through on this week. As usual, before we jump into it, I do want to give Stitch House a quick thank you for having us. Stitch House right here on Market Street. Always have 12 beers on tap. They got a new one out here, the Percolator. It is a coffee double bock or doppelbock, and I'm loving it. You just had, I think it was the black IPA, right?
The black IPA, yes.
Yeah, the Black Sunshine.
That was pretty good.
Man.
That sounds interesting, though. So I may actually, after this,
it is. It's good.
dabble on that a little bit.
Very, very. I like the complex flavors, and that coffee double bock, definitely very complex. Okay. But, yeah, so come through Stitch House. They're right here on Market Street. Great food, great drinks. And with that, we are rolling. So, again, thanks for joining us. Napoleon, you are the co-owner of Oddity Bar with your brother Manny.
Yes.
And I've known you guys in that role for about a year. I was away for the first...
For a little bit, yeah.
For a little bit. And then it was about this time last year that I kind of crossed paths with y'all on the Wednesday nights that you host, the Industry Jams every Wednesday
Industry Jam
nights.
night, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I am excited to kind of get to what's going on right now and what you guys have coming up in the future. But I do like to kind of start with a little bit of background because this series is largely for, people who are either starting or have not yet started but are thinking about starting a business in the near future. And so to learn a little bit of like how people get there is, it's helpful. And what I hope for with this series is for those who are starting that journey to maybe learn a little bit from you and from some of the other small business owners in the area to avoid some of the pitfalls that come with small business management. I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk about what it's like to run a business with a family member too.
Yes, we'll definitely get into that a little bit as well.
Yeah, but just to start out, I know some of your background too was you were a U.S. Marine, correct?
Yes, I was in the Marine Corps for about 10 years. Loved my time there. Had to kind of call it quits for kind of like family reasons. But then I'm born and raised here in Delaware. So I'm a Wilmington born and raised man. Me and my brother both are from here. Majority of my family's from here. So it was very easy to come back to Delaware after my time in the service. Kind of, bounced around from job to job, trying to figure out, where I kind of went to land at. And it kept on coming back to me. I did not want to have like someone constantly telling me what to do as like a boss over and over again. I was like fumbling through like, hey, I want to do something. And eventually I started a business with one of my friends. It was actually a barbershop. Okay. So started the barbershop, started learning the ins and outs of running a business. A lot of time management that you have to have very, very good time management skills because you have to dedicate a lot of time. And then we kind of leapfrogged that into me finally buying a bar in southern Delaware. Okay, gotcha. Ran that for about 5 or 6 years or so, and my brother Manny, who's the co-owner of the Oddity Bar, he wanted to kind of get out of the business that he was doing. He was running a trucking company. Okay. So started looking around, seeing what's available. Obviously, we went to see if we can find something here in Wilmington, and we found the Oddity Bar that was for sale. Nice. And we kind of jumped right onto that. So what year was that? That was 2022. 2022, gotcha. Yep. Now you kind of touched on something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs can agree on or feel at least, which is, a lot of them spend some time with a boss, with someone over them telling them what to do. I can only imagine that was the case in the military. Yes, it was.
For sure. And then you kind of get the bug, right? Like once you work for yourself, once you say like, hey, it's me who's motivating myself every day, so it should be me who's in charge, or me who's taking the cut at the end of the day or the night or whatever.
Exactly.
You get that bug. So that's funny that you met. I didn't realize Manny was in construction before. So you kind of had two entrepreneurs in the family, and then what was like give me a little peek into the conversation you and Manny talking about. Do you really want to do this together? You really want to go in?
That was actually a big question. Do you really want to do this?
Yeah.
No, but me and him have a great relationship together. So it was us kind of sitting at home at his house, and we're tossing up the idea. I was already in the bar industry. It's something that he really wanted to get into because he's very big into music as well.
Yeah.
So it was naturally for him. He's always been around this kind of scene, but on the opposite side.
Right.
I was on the opposite side of him as far as he wants to do music. I was doing the business side. So it kind of made sense to kind of like mesh the two together.
Right.
And the conversation kind of just flowed like, hey, if we're able to find something within our hometown that we actually grew up in, why not?
Yeah.
And so, again, like I said, found the Oddity Bars, all the numbers sounded right, and we just dove right in. With each other.
No, and I mean, you mentioned Manny's love for music, your love for your hometown. It's very clear, as someone who's been to your establishment, at least 52 times, right? And probably more than that, but it's very, very clear that you guys have a passion for what I call the scene, right? It's just watching things build, watching things grow, and like allowing a place where people can kind of be themselves in a lot of ways, particularly in music. Over the last year, I've seen so many different types of people, genres, faces going through Oddity, and it's unique in that way too. It's not like it has this one specific style of folk. Was there anything you guys kind of did to foster that diversity of people who come through?
Yeah, so the Oddity Bar was already kind of known for its like punk shows, rock shows, and with us buying it, we wanted to make sure we introduced something that was a little bit more us, but we wanted to make sure we fostered an environment where everyone can have a place to play, no matter what kind of music, genre, or whatever it may be, something for everyone.
Right.
So we slowly start to introduce more of like an urban crowd, a Latin crowd, reggae, and it just started to build from there. We knew from the very beginning that the Oddity Bar wasn't going to always remain as the Oddity Bar.
Right, yeah.
It was going to be a stepping stone into what we actually saw it as. We wanted to have something where it's so diverse that it didn't matter what kind of music you were into. On any particular night, if you see what we got going on, you can come in and enjoy music, especially local talent.
Yeah.
That's one of our key subsets is we really want local talent in the building as much as possible.
Yeah, I love that, the development. So in this series, we've talked to, print shops and construction workers and all number of things. And of course, a print shop's product is the printing, right?
The printing.
Construction workers' product is, drywall and electrical and those types of things. In the bar, your product is creating a welcoming environment, developing musicians, developing, artists and things like that, and I've gotten to watch a lot of that stuff through the period. Like I remember the early days of the Wednesday nights. There was like live art going on, like a collective art stuff. So it's really kind of neat to wrap your head around. Like, so here, let me take a step back here. I'm kind of a little all over the place, but you guys had a long-term plan to eventually kind of transform the Oddity Bar into a relatable vision to what you guys wanted to do.
Yes.
Because I remember the Oddity Bar back in the day, 5-6 years ago, just a wild place. I love that you're repping the brand too.
Exactly.
Taxidermy on the walls and all that stuff. And they were right next to 1984, which was the arcade bar.
The barcade, yep.
The barcade, right. So you kind of had that like hipster, kind of like you said, punk scene, indie scene going on. But, 1984 is gone now, and you and Manny's dedication to new artists and kind of developing the music scene has taken a forefront. So how long had you guys been talking about, and by the way, we're going to get to what the Oddity Bar is going to become. How long had you and Manny been talking about and envisioning that? Was that months, years?
So when we first bought the bar, like I said, we knew it wasn't going to remain the Oddity Bar with the way it at its current setup.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe about 6-7 months in, we start to really narrow down where do we want to go.
Right.
As far as all the contacts we started to make, seeing how the local artists, every single time that a local artist came in, whether it be a full band or just a solo act, everyone always thanked us for providing a space for them to showcase what they could do.
Yeah.
And we really resonated with that, and we wanted to make sure that we created an environment and continue to foster that for everyone to actually come in and see and do.
Yeah.
So about, I'll say like 6-7 months in, we started to like hunker down, say, hey, what are we going to do? We started coming up with different names, design concepts as far as how we want to design the space inside, changing the stage, taking down some of the taxidermy, putting up different wall art. So all of that started to come together right around like I would say the first 6 months to about a year. And then after that, it was more game planning exactly when we were going to execute it.
Right.
And we're finally there at that execution part.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of a special episode for Canopy Crow Productions because we were lucky enough, myself and Mike, to kind of help you guys plan out what to do with the stage. I kind of make a joke that before it was a bar with a stage in it, and now it's a music venue. Yes. Right, and that stage from a feng shui perspective, like a feng shui expert would have walked in there and saw that stage and go, "What are you doing?" It's right. It was right in the middle of the room, which was cool. It was great for the artists on stage, but it was a little difficult for the watchers. Right, there was only maybe 10 seats where you had like a. And again, this isn't your fault. This is the way that it was.
We acquired it this way.
Yeah, you acquired it, right. It was like that when I got here. But now kind of seeing that transformation, I was there the last couple weeks since the stage has moved now. And for those of you who haven't checked out the new Oddity Bar, soon to be ICONZ, definitely go through. The stage it went from 8 inches up to 12 inches, and it went from the center of the room to the side of the room, so that it's more like it reminds me a little bit of the Dobbs. In all honesty, better than the Dobbs because it's wider and it's more welcoming, and the bar is off to the side rather than right in the middle of everything. But it's got a great vibe now. The energy is so much different with a room where everybody in the room gets the same view. I'm a guitar player, right? So when I'm doing a solo, I want everyone in the room, if they want to look at it, to see it. Yes. And now they can. And then you have the VIP section now that's 8 inches up, and the stage it's 12 inches. So, or I shouldn't say VIP, but the lounge area.
The lounge area, right. Yes.
Yeah. And so overall, different vibe, different setup, and you guys are doing the floors here soon. Yep. What's it been like? Running a business, because you got to keep your lights on, right? You got to keep the money in the till. What's it like running a business during renovations? How's that been treated?
So that was a big question that we kept getting. How long are you going to be shut down? And me and my brother kind of looked at it and said, are we able to, since we're already open right now, Wednesday through Saturday from 6 to 1 a.m., Wednesday through Saturday. Right. So Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesday, we're already shut down. Right. And we wanted to see, can we actually get done a lot of work in between time? Yeah. So we can mitigate the downtime as far as opening back up. And so we kind of spread load the construction, the renovation into phases. Right. So first phase was getting the stage all up and running. Once we had that, it was more like putting the aesthetics back into place. Yeah. Taking everything off the walls. We still have to put everything back on the walls as far as what we're changing the space into. And so we really try to limit our downtime as much as possible, because as any business owner, you don't want if the doors aren't open, no one's coming in, you're not making money. Yeah, and that's a part where regardless of what business you're in, there are going to be periods where you're changing things, right? Mm-hmm. The last business I was in was an e-commerce business. And when it was time to update the websites, we're all looking at each other. Well, we can't do it on this day because we have a lot of traffic. We can't do it here. So we had to sometimes we would have to, start at 10 a.m. And I wasn't a big part of that team that did the updates. So I would be like the 10 to 12, but they would just work through the night because that was the only time. That's the only time. No one was, active on the website. And just like any business, if it's that one time that you close,
that somebody shows up is like, how come they're not open, you know?
Exactly.
And so it was, I guess there was a benefit that you had a few days where you already weren't open to keep the renovations going.
To keep it all going, yep.
But for those who are listening, like that's obviously it's a wild transition to buy kind of somebody else's vision, right? And then be patient, make plans, and then now you're finally at the point where you're executing those plans. Can you talk like a little bit about like what that planning phase was like? Were you guys stacking the funds to do the reno? Were you kind of waiting for a season to what was kind of the thought process in like maybe something that another business that's not a bar can take a piece of that to prepare for such a big change?
Yeah. So it's actually a little bit of both.
Okay.
Kind of stacking the money a little bit as much as possible, and also picking the right time to do the renovation, because in the bar industry, I think hands down everyone say the very beginning of the year is the worst time of the year for us.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of New Year's resolutions. There's dry January. Everybody's spent a lot of money on the holidays.
Yep.
So January is typically a very slow month for the bar industry.
Yeah.
So that was already coming up, and it was more of if we can execute this during that time where we're already going to be running a little slow, then we can actually fulfill what we're trying to do and not have as much of an impact on our actual customers.
Gotcha.
So we wanted to make sure that we looked at the right exact time to actually do everything, and we kind of picked this time. And starting a new year, new venue, new name, that also kind of all plays into that as well.
Yeah. Timing is everything. I remember when I was in roofing, nobody does roofs in December, right? Everyone's doing Christmas. It's too cold out, all that stuff. Soon as January hits, back to the resolutions, everyone's like, I resolved to get this major project done. And even though you can't do a lot of work in the snow, it's still like your calendar starts to
fill up.
So timing was a big piece of it. Speaking of timing, I know we have a whole bunch of people out there. I hope a lot of the people who watch this series as well, kind of waiting for that, the name change, the floors are done, everything, the grand opening. Do you guys have a date on that, or you're still trying to get work done before? I know you had talked initially about like mid to late February.
Yep.
And so, because we Mike and I and Canopy Crow, we want to make sure that we're behind you all the way on that. So, but I do want to share that with the folks out there. If you have one in mind, it's okay if you don't, of course.
No, we definitely do, and thank you guys for coming through and doing the huge part, which was the actual renovation of the stage. That was great.
No, I'll be bugging you for a review and all that stuff.
Yeah,
the 5 stars and whatnot.
But so as of February 1st, we're going to change our name over officially.
Okay.
The official relaunch, rebranding, and everything like that is going to be right around February 17th.
Okay.
So we have a few things going on. We still have a few more key items that we have to get done. I know one of my other brothers, he was there today renovating our bathroom. So we're still moving. Every single day we're doing. It's definitely been a family affair.
Yeah, that's cool.
So friends, family. Yeah. Shout out to my other brother. Like he's been instrumental in other things as well. But yeah, so February 1st, name change. February 17th is going to be our official relaunch.
Gotcha. You kind of touched on something too. A lot of people, as they're starting out, right? It's it's something that needs to be said. Family, friends are critical to your growth. A lot of people I know, like, they have a pride about them, right? They want to do it all on their own. I've seen those people do it all on their own. Most of them don't make it, and those who do, they have the bags. They have the bags under their eyes. They do it upstream all the way, and the thing is, like, family, friends, like, a lot of people are scared to, like, I don't want to tell my family I need business. I need them to give me referrals and all that stuff. That's embarrassing. But ultimately, it's like, I think one of the most under talked about things about entrepreneurship and small business is the humility. Humility sometimes of asking for help, saying, I need help for this to succeed, and so it's I've already seen the family side a little bit, like, because we were working alongside you and your brother during the renos, and now you have another brother working in-house as well. let's touch a little bit on what that's like. Like, is there any management difficulties? Are you guys 50-50? Is there a hierarchy? And you know what? Maybe we don't need to go all the way there because Manny will probably check this out too. But yeah, tell me a little bit of the upsides, a little bit of the downsides of working with family.
So, as with anything, it's the classic term you always hear. It's hard to work with family, right?
Right.
It's very hard to go into business with family, and I'm not going to say that me and my brother don't bump heads sometimes.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we respect each other,
Yeah.
and we always come to an agreement on what our next steps are.
Yeah.
So whether it's a managerial decision that needs to be had, normally we kind of lean on each other's strengths.
Yeah.
And since I've already kind of have experience in the bar industry,
Right.
he'll kind of defer to me for certain things.
Right.
I know he's a very creative mind.
Yeah.
So I would defer to him when it comes to the creativity part.
Right. Totally.
Because so that way we kind of leverage on each other for everything. So we are 50-50, but
right.
if depending on what it is,
That makes
hey,
sense.
bro, go ahead and handle that for me.
And you know, with other people, I would have been afraid to ask that question, but I have witnessed y'all. You know, you do seem to really respect each other, really value
Yes.
each other. And yeah, I mean, he's a dreamer. I love it. Like when he starts talking about what's to come, the dream, I get excited. I
Exactly.
feel like I'm part of everything. It's so cool. And you know, and then of course too, with the military background, the discipline, the level-headedness, you know, that plays in. I spent a lot of time in a family business too, and it's tough, right? The upsides are you're doing stuff with people you love. There's a loyalty element, you know. There's all that stuff, but the downsides are sometimes feelings get hurt, and they carry over into Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, that's so cool. So in the interest of time, you know, I do want to keep these like around 20-25 minutes. So I don't want to hold you here all night.
Okay.
I know you got to get back.
Gotta get back to work.
Oddity as well, back to work. By the way, if I haven't already mentioned, Oddity Bar, soon to be ICONZ, every Wednesday they do an industry jam. Keep your eye on their calendar. Here's the new website right up here. And keep your eye on the calendar. They do stuff, like you said, Wednesday through Saturday, right?
Wednesday through Saturday. Wednesday nights is a staple night now.
Yeah.
It's a very, very successful industry jam. Everyone kind of comes through. If you play a band or an instrument, if you sing, if you just want to watch some cool guys get together and kind of showcase what they have, Wednesday nights are that night.
Yeah.
And then normally on Fridays and Saturdays we have a live event going on, whether it be 4 or 5 bands or maybe it's a hip-hop night showcase, everything in between, reggae, jazz, everything in between.
Nice. Yeah, I scheduled this event. We knew it was going to be on Wednesday, but I scheduled it early so that I could always make sure to get to your spot after. It is, too. I'd be amiss to not give Genesis Z a shout-out.
Yes.
Genesis and friends run that night. And, yeah, you summed it up where it's, if you have an instrument, if you have an idea, that's a great place to work it out. Very welcoming crowd. You can do anything from bring your own band and play to ask them to do live karaoke. Everybody pulls out their phones, looks at the chords. You grab the lyrics.
It starts singing.
Yeah, and start singing. It's great. Some of the best moments in music I have seen were there. And then I also like chaos too. So some of the most chaotic things are there as well. And you know, I think that's a big part of live events too. Is staying calm in the chaos. You know.
Yes, definitely stay calm in the chaos.
But so last subject here before before we wrap up is the new bar. Like what's the name, what's the vision, and where you picture yourself or where you hope to be in 6 months to a year.
So the new name, unfortunately, we're killing off the name Oddity Bar. I think it's run its course. We have evolved from just being more so of a punk rock bar to more of a venue for everyone.
Yeah.
So the new name is going to be ICONZ.
Okay.
It's the ICONZ Bar and Venue.
Okay.
We're still going to expand on everything we've been kind of doing for the past year and a half, which is rock bands, punk bands, reggae, jazz, hip-hop, Latin, everything.
I love it.
We're literally doing everything so we can give a space for everyone here in the city to find something to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on in, have a good time on any day of the week at ICONZ.
Nice.
That's what we're going for. Where do we see ourselves within 6 or 7 months? We hope we're one of the more premier venues for everyone to kind of if you're going out on a Friday or Saturday night, you're going to check to see what we got going on at ICONZ.
Yeah. In all honesty, it's a great room for music. You know, I did want to let you know, too, Jim Miller reached out to me earlier today, sent me a text. He wanted me to share with you that you guys are getting a spread and out and about in March as well. So the community's behind you. We're excited to see what's coming. He does great write-ups, too.
Yes.
So, like,
love Out and About
everything
magazine.
we're doing here, this is just like an appetizer. That's going to be the real meal. I'm really excited for you guys to get the press, get the attention, and get the bodies in the room. Make sure to check out Oddity ICONZ. Go say hi to Napoleon and Manny when you're through there. You know, if it's appropriate.
If it's appropriate. It's always appropriate. Come on.
But thank you so much, Napoleon, for coming through, joining It's Business Time, Week 20. We want to thank Stitch House for having us. Oddity Bar, soon to be ICONZ. Keep your eyes open. Thanks again for joining.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to do a little set here, breakdown, and head right on over. I'll see you later.
Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody. Continue to have a great new year.
It's business. It's business time. Hang tight, we're gonna get into the business right here in a couple minutes. Baby, baby. It's